Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was released in 2002 and was again directed by Chris Columbus. And as a general disclaimer, this review will not be a comparison of the book to the movie. This is just me reviewing the movie. And first off, there were a couple things I didn't touch on in my Sorcerer's Stone review that I will kind of touch on here. The first being that Chris Columbus was such an excellent choice as director for these first two films. He is used to making family movies, and I feel like that really fits the tone of these first two Harry Potter stories. They're more kid-friendly stories. I think he was a great choice to bring that type of attitude to the big screen. And you could even see that he had grown a little bit from that first movie. You could feel he was getting more confident being in that wizard world. He employed some new filming techniques, and even the runtime in this film is almost 15 minutes longer than in Sorcerer's Stone. Yet this film feels even tighter and maybe even more focused. The other thing I didn't touch on in the Sorcerer's Stone review was the characters, and the character interactions in these movies are gold. I could sit and watch an extra hour of these movies if it meant more time just hanging out with Harry, Ron, and Hermione at Hogwarts. They all have great chemistry together, and they feel like real friends to me. And the actors each do a little better job of sinking into their characters this time around. They're by no means perfect, but it's certainly an improvement. The CGI was also an improvement over the first film. They even introduced a fully CG character in Dobby. And you do kind of always expect an advancement or an improvement in CGI as time goes on. But there had only been 1 year in between this film and Sorcerer's Stone, and it was such a noticeable difference in the CGI used that I thought it was worth mentioning. Also, the practical effects used are just so much fun. It makes me happy. Especially the Whomping Willow, Aragog the Spider, and the Basilisk. The sets are again impressive. The Chamber of Secrets was great, as well as all of the reused sets from the first film. They did not lose any of their magic. Each Harry Potter film expands its cast a little bit, and this time around the notable inclusions were Mr. Weasley, Gilderoy Lockhart, and Lucius Malfoy. Professor Lockhart is played by Kenneth Branagh so well. He may be the funniest character in the whole series, and Jason Isaacs gives a great introduction to the slime ball that is Lucius Malfoy. The stories in all of these films are so good, so easy to sink into, and something my brain does, especially when watching fantasy or sci-fi movies, is to try and find plot holes or plot inconsistencies. So it makes me happy to struggle to find any in the Harry Potter films. Things are usually explained thoroughly, so no questions are left unanswered. But yeah, I just love the depth and the genius level writing of the stories here by J.K. Rowling. And did I say that the Sorcerer's Stone had the best mystery story out of all the films? Because I think Chamber of Secrets might have it beat here. The mystery is even more serious this time around, with the whole school in danger of being petrified. The stakes are raised and hardly anyone knows anything about the Chamber of Secrets in order for Harry to unlock this mystery. I like the added depth to Harry's character in the film. He has a more clear inner conflict in this film that he has to work through. And the themes in each of these stories is so wholesome. The Sorcerer's Stone touched on not letting your past dictate your future, and this one touched on actions rather than personality traits dictating who we really are. And of course there are so many other lessons found within, but those are just the standouts to me. And as I said, I believe Chris Columbus had some growth in this movie, but I do believe he could have taken some more risks. And that makes this movie feel a little too much like the first, almost like a story retread. I wish that he had gone outside of his box just a little bit more. And one of my major complaints of Sorcerer's Stone was its excessive use of expositional dialogue. And this film has the advantage of not having to set up a brand new world this time around. So naturally, there's going to be less exposition that needs to be laid. However, somehow the script felt even more expositional in certain parts than the first. Characters would say something that would just not fit with what their character would actually say. And it was so easy to spot that they were saying it just to the audience. So this kind of dialogue was not as frequent, but I do believe it was even worse than Sorcerer's Stone. And while Lucius Malfoy was a great villain, I do believe his dialogue was maybe just a little too evil. Like, everything out of this dude's mouth is just offensive. I don't know how anyone could ever stand being around him or have any respect for him whatsoever. So while I think Jason Isaacs played a good villain, it was a little unbelievable to me. Another thing that bothered me about the movie was that Harry and Ron are wearing their school uniforms for the final battle. And this is the only movie where that happens. And I don't know why, but that inconsistency has always bothered me so much. It was night. They shouldn't have had to wear their uniforms at that point in time. Why did they have them on? Has this ever bothered anyone else? I've never heard anyone else ever complain about that. Please tell me I'm not the only one. But overall, I like this movie a lot more than I had remembered. I always thought this was the weakest of the franchise, but I don't know, that may not be the case after I rewatch all of these. I'm gonna give Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets an 8.5 out of 10. Well guys, let me know what you thought of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in the comments below. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you for my next review.